I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in UK test part 494 by doing a leg stretching. And if you participate in the leg stretching, first set your arm risk. Okay, we're starting with the first exercise. Both legs out, the feet are together, not to be outside, and we're going in front, and you can pull also a bit in. We already prepared on the last video that we are now able to make a little presentation about the First World War. I have had two cameras rolling, the first one for this leg stretching and learning, and the other one where we try to use our learning already to shoot another video. And that shooting of the video will be used for learning about the First World War. Okay, I think we can just start. It will be Allied and the Central Powers, and the Allied were France, Britain, France, Italy, United States of America, and against the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungarian, Ottoman Empire. 2 million British casualties, 60,000 July 1916 attack on the Somme in one day, and also 1 million of Indians fought and 40,000 of them died. And also other people from West Indies, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada fought with the British. And on 11 women again. Okay, let's just try it while we're doing this leg stretching. It was for 20. Where do we have a 28 from? 128 at least. On the 28th June 1914, Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke, is it an Archduke? Archduke. And we're changing the leg. So we have already another exercise. On the 28th June 1914, Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke of Austria, was killed in an assassination. And that sparked the outbreak of the First World War from 1914 until 1918. In the leading up years, Britain was a superpower, and the people had a mood of optimism. Many changes were to improve his social life and so on. But throughout whole Europe there was a growing sense of militarism and of imperialism, and two parties started to be formed, the Allied and the Central Powers. The Allied were, for example, Britain, France, Italy, the United States, and the Central Powers, mainly Germany, Austria-Hungarian Empire, and Ottoman Empire. Then, after the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke of Austria, on the 28th June 1914, the First World War broke out. In this First World War, 2 million British casualties were recorded. And, for example, there were 60,000 casualties just on the first attack in July 1916 by the Battle of the Somme. It was a worldwide war. For example, also 1 million people from India fought on behalf of the British, and 40,000 Indian people died. On the 11th November 1918, the First World War ended. And every year in Britain there is the Remembrance Day on the 11th November. And at 11 o'clock on the 11th November in Britain, there's a 2-minute silence, and wreaths are laid down in commemoration of fallen soldiers at the cenotaph in Whitehall in London. And that is according to the Life in the UK test handbook on the pages 46 and 47. Okay, we have done that exercise long enough. Next one. I'm going to stop the camera now, and I'm going to start directly in this one, I think. Yes, I do. Okay, a new take. Now, we're doing the card racer. We're in 90-90 position with the legs. We're going with the hands to the knee behind of us, and we're leaning in front with the shoulder to the knee in front of us. So that was the video about the First World War. Just one video about such a big subject. And it's also important for Britain. And now we're trying to prepare, while we're doing the card racer, the second video about the partition of Ireland, or so will it be called. During the 19th century, there was a growing sense of nationalism. We start with that. in Ireland. There were people like Lithuanians who wanted complete independence, others like Charles Stuart Parnell, home rule. In 1913, the British government proposed the home rule for Ireland. A home rule bill was introduced in the parliament, or presented, or it was promised, or it was presented, is the best thing. But Protestants of the north of Ireland, or the Protestants in the north of Ireland, opposed it, did not want it, and they even threatened to resist by force. When the First World War broke out in 1914, and the British government postponed its decisions on Ireland. During the happening of the First World War in the year 1916, or in the middle of I don't know how to express it, the Easter Rising happened, and that was in Dublin. The Rising was defeated, and the leaders of this uprising were executed. When a guerrilla war, that is the thing, a guerrilla war started. We were wondering in the previous part how we come now to 1921. A guerrilla war started against the British Army and Police, against the British Army and Police in Ireland. In 1921, a peace treaty was signed, and in 1922, Ireland became 2 countries. We're changing the side. So I'm doing it now on that side. 1922, Ireland became 2 countries. The 6 northern counties, which were Protestantic, remained part of the UK, and they got the title of name Northern Ireland, and the rest of Ireland became the Irish Free State, which in 1949 became the Republic of Ireland. That would be the partition. Now the rest thing we need a bit then how it went on with the troubles. But I don't want this big working from part of part. The 1970 was also a time of serious unrest in Northern Ireland. In 1972, the Northern Ireland Parliament was suspended, and Northern Ireland was directly ruled by the UK governments. In the decades after 96, in the violence in Northern Ireland. The Blair government was able to build on the peace process. John Major in the 90s, let's say that John Major, the Prime Minister in the 90s, had to establish a Northern Ireland peace process. Then by Tony Blair continued, and in 1998 the Good Friday Agreement was signed. Did we have somewhere else something to that? It would be helpful if we had that somewhere written down in one. 1998 the Good Friday Agreement, but that's enough so far. The paramilitary groups in Northern Ireland decommissioned their arms and are inactive. And we are going again into 1990, but this time we're leaning just in front. And there is now the Northern Ireland Assembly. 2002 until 2007, so it was already here, but it was for 5 years. Was it suspended? But there is the Northern Ireland Assembly. So Ireland is... Okay, so we have no really explanation to all. It's been suspended several times. But what has it to do with the partition of Ireland? So directly, so how's it a solution for the conflict? So and then the people who wanted Ireland to be one independent country, the trouble started, and around 3,000 people died in that. Between the people who wanted Ireland to be completely all of Ireland independent, and the ones who wanted to become state part. Then John Major in the 90s started to establish the peace process. Tony Blair continued it. 1998 Good Friday Agreement, and there is also the Northern Ireland Assembly. the Northern Ireland Assembly, paramilitary groups decommissioned their arms and are inactive, and the Northern Ireland Assembly is active, I would guess now. Okay, do we have it all? Let's just try it. It's not that long. We can do it during the pigeon pose with that leg. I have a second camera running. Yes, I restarted it. And let's try it. During the 19th century, there was a growing sense of nationalism in Ireland. There were people like the Fenians. They wanted complete independence of Ireland from the United Kingdom. Other people like Charles Stuart Parnell wanted home rule, which would mean that Ireland stays a part of the United Kingdom, but that it has its own parliament. In 1913, then, there was a Home Rule Bill introduced, but Protestants from Northern Ireland did not agree to it and forced to resist. And threatened to resist. Okay, we're going to stay here a little bit longer with that leg. '21 peace treaty, 22 two countries, 49 Irish Free State. Okay. Maybe we're gonna differently than the partition of Ireland. We're gonna name it differently than the partition of Ireland. Okay, we're going over to the other leg. First, just 1990, in front and in front. There's nothing. Did we had at any time anything more to Ireland? John Major and then Tony Blair. No, I don't think there's anything written here. Okay, now do the pigeon pose and I try it again. Do the pigeon pose only if you know how to do the pigeon pose without injuring yourself. In the 19th century, there was a growing sense of nationalism in Ireland. There were people like the Fenians who wanted complete independence from the United Kingdom, and other people like Charles Stuart Parnell who wanted home rule. Home rule would mean that Ireland stays a part of the United Kingdom, but that it has its own parliament and can govern itself. Then in the year 1913, there was a Home Rule Bill introduced, but Protestants from Northern Ireland rejected it, and they also threatened to use force against it. Then the First World War broke out in 1914, and the British Parliament decided to postpone decisions on Ireland. During the First World War, when in the year 1916 there was the Easter Rising in Ireland, in Dublin, against the British. The uprising was defeated, and the leader of the Easter Uprising were executed. Then a guerrilla war started. In the year 1921, a peace treaty was signed, and in 1922, Ireland became two separate countries. The 6 mostly Protestant counties of the north became Northern Ireland, and the rest of Ireland became the Irish Free State, which then in the year 1949 became the Republic of Ireland. The trouble were then in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s, and that was fighting between people who wanted complete Irish independence as one country, and other people who wanted to stay in Ireland. Around 3,000 people died in this trouble. And then in the 90s, John Major, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, he worked on a peace process, and Tony Blair then, his following Prime Minister, he then made it possible that in 1998 the Good Friday Agreement could be signed. Northern Ireland got the Northern Ireland Assembly and could govern it partly with it itself, and the paramilitary groups decommissioned their arms and are inactive. And that is according to the Life in UK Test Handbook on the pages 47 and 48 and others. That wasn't perfect, but it's okay. We're going to the last exercise. The butterfly stretch. And the soles of the feet together, sitting tone up, and we're going in front. What was of 1969? I can't find it. In the decades after 1969, 2,000 people lost their lives in the troubles. I thank you very much, and until the next time.